Airbnb quietly reset one of the most important safety settings on our listings again.
It's something we always recommend turning on and something that Airbnb keeps turning off after every big update.
Stop messing with me!
In this video, we're walking you through our listing settings section by section, showing you how we have everything set, and you should go check for yourself before your next booking.
But before we dive into settings, we have a little announcement to make. We are working on something totally new, a 6-month-long video series for our YouTube channel, and it's nothing like we've ever done before.
But we need your help. We are on the hunt for the coolest, most kid-approved short-term rentals in every US state, including Alaska and Hawaii.
So if that sounds like your property, or if you've seen something that fits that criteria, or maybe even stayed somewhere yourself, drop the state that it's in, plus the listing link or the host's Instagram handle down in the comment section below.
If you drop a link there, we'll check it out and we'll consider integrating this into our video series.
We will be sharing more about this new series over on Instagram this week. So if you're not already following us over there, you'll want to do that.
You don't want to miss this announcement. It's going to be wild.
Almost as wild as some of these Airbnb settings. So let's get started on those.
We're going to go through these settings as you would see them on a desktop site of your Airbnb profile. So you may want to grab a laptop and be able to follow along on your own account page as we go through them.
So from your hosting dashboard, let's start by selecting the listings tab at the top center of the page, and then select one of your listings. I'm going to choose Ocotillo Ranch, which is actually our primary residence in Palm Desert that we're renting out as a midterm rental while we're here in Iowa. And actually now through early next year, partly because we are starting this new series.
After you click on your listing, it's going to open up the listing settings, starting with the photos. At the top here, it will show if you have any outstanding tasks, so you can check that out. Ours is just saying that we need to hire an Airbnb photographer, but these are brand new photos and they're good.
What did you just say?
When you're setting up your listing for the first time, Airbnb will prompt you to auto sort your photos into rooms, but it's still important to go back and check these because sometimes they're assigned incorrectly. And also make sure you're scrolling all the way down at the bottom to check that there aren't any in an unassigned folder.
If you click on one of the rooms, it's going to show you all the photos assigned to that room. And then if you scroll down, you're going to see all the selected amenities in that room, which you can check and adjust here as well.
We don't recommend letting Airbnb choose your photo order, and you can change that on the main photo page by selecting all photos and then clicking on manage photos. And from here, you can drag and drop the photos into the order that you want. This way you can lead with some of your more enticing photos to really hook a guest in, and they aren't having to scroll through a bunch of photos of beds in order to get to the exciting stuff.
Back to the main listing editor, the next section down is the title. You're going to want to make sure you're highlighting some of your most standout features here, but we also like to include the name of our management company.
If a guest is familiar with the concept of direct bookings, then they will often Google search our company name and reach out and ultimately book directly. But if you don't have a direct booking site or a social media page, then I would just stick to highlighting some of the key amenities.
And for those of you who may be wondering how it's going renting our primary residence as a midterm rental, it's been going really well, especially considering we launched this listing at the start of summer, which is the lowest demand and the hottest season of the year.
But since then, we've had steady bookings. It's been a mix of Airbnb and some direct bookings. Great guest feedback so far. And we even took a $15,000 monthly booking for early next year, which we are super excited about.
We're definitely happy with our decision to rent out that property, and it was worth all of the effort that we had to go through to get it ready for guests.
Best decision I ever made.
So if you scroll down again on the listing editor, you'll find the property type section. Most of this you'll have filled out when you're setting up your listing, but there are a few extra details that you can add in, like square footage and the year the home was built.
If you scroll down the property type section a little bit more, you'll see here if your property has been auto assigned into one or more of Airbnb's categories. Now, in this latest update, Airbnb doesn't have categories in the guest view anymore, so I'm not sure how important this section is, but they're there nonetheless.
It still probably doesn't hurt to have a category designation, and maybe back in the back of Airbnb's algorithm, they are using that to match your property with certain guests. So if you click on Learn More, it will bring you to a page with instructions on logging into the Elevate site, where you can request your property be added into certain categories.
So scrolling down again on the main listing editor, you have number of guests, which is again something you would have filled out before you publish the listing. And then below that is your listing description.
If you haven't touched the listing description since you first published your listing, then you should definitely go back to this section, because once you hit publish on your listing, Airbnb opens up more sections for you to fill in, like the Your Property section.
Think of the listing description as the TLDR, or too long didn't read, part of your listing, where you give a quick overview of the house, and the Your Property section is the longer, more keyword-rich section where you can expand on all the details and the cool things your house has.
For the Your Property section, we start with a longer descriptive section at the top, and then we break the rest into more categories. So we have a highlight section for things like the big deep pool, the kids' playground, EV charging, and then below that we include a home tour where we go room by room and describe things like what type of beds are in each room and if there's a bathtub and a shower in the bathrooms.
In the guest access section, we say the guests have exclusive access to the whole property, but you'll want to list off if there's any locked off areas or supply closets that are locked. In our case here, we actually lock off a whole bedroom, but that isn't included in the bedroom count of the listing, so we make that clear, but there is a locked room that we keep all of our personal stuff in while we're away. And then in the other details to note section, you can disclose anything here that you might want guests to know about your property. In this case, we mentioned the pool doesn't have a fence, that there are many cactus on the property to be careful around, and that it is in a quiet residential neighborhood, so guests need to be respectful of outdoor noise.
You also don't want to skip the host profile section. Airbnb has added a bunch of different ways to showcase your interests and your personality. And this is also another spot where you could potentially drop your company name to encourage direct bookings.
The next one is super important to check, even if you've already said it, and that is the instant booking section. We have instant booking turned on for all of our properties, but then we also turn on the good track record filter.
The good track record option prevents guests that don't have prior positive reviews from other hosts from instant booking your property. They can still send over a request to book, but they just can't instant book.
And that's where the problem has come up. It seems like pretty much every time Airbnb does a major update, or sometimes just random times, that good track record button gets turned off, and then anyone can book.
And we often don't notice until a guest comes along that has only 3-star reviews and instant books the property, and we're like, what the heck? And then we have to go back and check every single property. So if this is something that you haven't checked on in a while, I definitely go and look for yourself.
Nothing gets past me.
We also set the pre-booking message on each listing, which we ask a couple questions about what brings the guest to the area and who they're traveling with.
This pre-booking message is designed to let us casually vet guests without being too intrusive, and also gives us the opportunity to give local recommendations based on their answer.
The house rule section is pretty self-explanatory. You can tailor this to your property. We recommend not allowing events or smoking, and setting quiet hours, especially if you're in a residential neighborhood.
Check-in and check-out times are also going to vary by property. For most of our single-family homes, we do a 3 p.m. check-in and a 10 a.m. checkout. But at our very small beach properties that are very quick to turn over, we do an 11 a.m. checkout and a 3 p.m. check-in. Some people do 11 a.m., 4 p.m. turnover time. It's up to you and your cleaners.
Next, let's scroll down here to the guest safety section. And this is going to be specific to your property, but there's always one section that we always fill in, and that's that there could be dangerous animals on the property.
You might think that what we write here is unnecessary, but it's really just to cover ourselves in case there is a guest who just gets freaked out by nature. It's happened. People sometimes forget that bugs live outside.
The next section, safety devices, is extremely important if you have any cameras in the exterior of your property, and specifically you need to disclose where they are and that they are actively recording audio or video. if you have that capability.
We used to have to disclose both cameras and noise monitors in this section, but Airbnb has recently added another category specifically for noise monitors.
Going back to the main list, you'll find the cancellation policy, and this is something that's almost always up for debate in the STR community.
Airbnb has made it known that more flexible cancellation policies are going to receive more bookings, but we also don't think that it's in your best interest to have a flexible cancellation policy for your property.
We have also tested out more strict cancellation policies, and those didn't have the best results for us either.
So we've stayed in the middle ground with a moderate cancellation policy, which allows guests to cancel with a full refund up to 5 days in advance of their stay. And for our midterm rentals of 30 days or more, we have the firm cancellation policy selected.
And that's it for the main listing settings on Airbnb. Pricing settings are a whole different topic, and we're actually making some changes to our pricing strategy. So don't forget to sign up for notifications, where you'll see all about that in an upcoming video.
And be sure to check the description box for free checklists and other helpful resources.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.